Hello, everybody. It gives me immense pleasure to share with you thoughts regarding temple renovation and whatever knowledge we have all acquired in the process of renovating a temple and temple tanks, etc. By the way, I am Saikumar. A lot of interests I have towards temple temple construction, temple renovation, protection of historic temples, etc. As our Mahapiriva told, Daridranam Danam, Shitila Linganam Pujanam, Anatha Preta Samskaram. These are all very important things which one should inculcate in his lifetime to do any of these activities. Likewise, to protect and save a temple is a very, very important thing. Instead of constructing new temples, we should save all old temples constructed by our Chola kings, Nayaka kings, Pallava kings, etc., and which have lasted for so many centuries. Those temples are to be protected. That is very, very important. And conducting the activities Nitya Puja of the temples are also important. I would briefly tell you about temple renovation and a small note about temple tank, how it has to be conserved or what you call as renovated. Now regarding temples, we have varieties of temples we have, and in these varieties the important temples which we come across as historic temples are mostly constructed with granite stones. Kal Tirupani, Karungal Tirupani we tell. The recent times temples are constructed using cement, sand, etc. However, those old temples were erected and constructed with all these granite stones. They are all very, very long-standing structures of tested times and which has survived for several centuries. That is the testimony of the nature of construction and the knowledge our elders and Sthapatis had about temple construction. First of all, when we come across any temple which is in a dilapidated state, how it has to be approached, what are all the at least main aspects which are to be looked into while renovating a temple. First, we should know what type of construction is that temple. That is, whether it is done by granite, Karungal Tirupani we tell, or done by regular cement, recent times like that. Whenever we come across temples of construction made by these granites, we should do it in a particular fashion or protect them and save them in such a way it was maintained from earlier days. The Chola kings renovation, construction and other aspects of temples give a very clear picture of its construction type. Similarly, Pallava period also had wonderful temple structures, and after Chola period our Nayaka kings constructed so many temples and they followed the steps of Chola kings as well as the knowledge which they have gained over a period of time was also applied in the renovation of temples. First, when we are taking up such a old temple, we should do one thing, whether the temple comes under, if it is in Tamil Nadu, means whether it is coming under the HRNC or not, that we should first know that. They call it as listed temples, non-listed temples, etc. Because these historic temples where granite structures are there, it can be renovated or touched only after obtaining technical clearance, state level committee, regional level committee, like that we have got a procedure to be adopted. So that we have to ensure. After ascertaining the facts about the historic nature of the temples and under whose jurisdiction it comes, we should commence the construction or renovation, whatever it is. Because the archaeological interest has to be preserved while renovating such temples. That is the idea behind going for all these committees and clearance of these things, etc. Now, a temple is a very, very vast subject. A temple has, broadly, as a layman, what we are seeing is the main sanctum sanctorum, which we call as Garbhagraham, and Mun Mandapam, and Artha Mandapam is in front of it, and there is a bigger temple, means Dwajastambam, what we call as Kodimaram in Tamil, and we have Balipidam, and if it is Shiva temple, there is a Nandi there in front of Lord Shiva, and if it is a Perumal temple, Mahavishnu temple, we have a Garuda or Anjaneya, Siriya Tiruvadi or Periya Tiruvadi, and Ambal temple we have Simhavanam, like that, etc., etc. Now, while constructing or renovating a temple, we should first assess what are all the actual repairs to be carried out through a sthapati and technical people. It has to be studied first. After finding out the facts, these types of constructions are to be carried out using lime, mortar, vittel, jaggery, and kadukai powder, vittel. So these things are to be used while renovating these types of temples. Cement is not to be used. That is the idea behind it. Why? The cement can last for 75 years or so only. But when you use this lime and mortar and along with jaggery and kadukai powder, it will last for several centuries. That is the idea behind it. And while doing such renovation, without making any defacement should not happen to any of these Tirumurtis or Tirumenis Vittal, all the statues. That is very important. Also, we should not deface any of the inscriptions if at all anything is available in the temple. So these things are to be very carefully monitored while taking up renovations. There are two types of renovations. One is as is varies, it can be renovated, small repairs can be carried out. But wherever the dilapidated condition is vast, it has to be totally dismantled. Then everything that whatever may be the vegetation and all, it has grown over it, it has to be removed, and then only the renovation has to be done. So in that case, all the stones are to be properly numbered, and it has to be brought to the ground level. Afterwards, it has to be again repositioned in the right places. So this is the way a temple is renovated. Now the construction is going on a very, very simple concept. The basements are very, very simple basements which have just 3 feet basement also. Bigger temples have. That is the surprising phenomena. And above that, the entire structure is standing because of weight on weight concept. That is, every weight is placed in such a way that the next weight holds the previous one, like that. So it will not move like that. So the concept is very simple, and no other scientific phenomena is applied or external patching up is required in all these types of granite structures. After the dilapidated stones are removed, it is positioned in exact places according to the numbering made, and no cranes are used. We use very simple things. Those days only elephants were employed to move all these granite stones. Nowadays we use the chain pulley method, by which we just lift the stones and keep it in the right place. So that is the position, how to again put these granite stones removed on the same place. Now, while doing these things, there is also a structure called Vimanam on the top of the Sanctum Sanctorum, where from the energy is drawn through the Vimanam. So there is a kalasam there. So this Vimanam is done either as a Kal Tirupani, that is granite work, or as a cement, without cement, using this lime and mortar. So that place, wherever there are statues in broken state or dilapidated state, we use copper wires, like that, and we again rework the statues and make it in that place. Pakka. So this is one type. Or the totally dilapidated vimanas, we take photographs of the earlier deities there. If it is Shiva temple, the coastal murtis and all, we also take the photos. According to the subject, we place their statues on the vimana. So this is the other aspect. Now comes other, Sannidhis we tell. For a Shiva temple, there is a Vinayakar Sannidhi, there is a Subramanya Swami Sannidhi, and there is also Ambal Sannidhi, like that. So each structure is constructed in such a way that it is historic time, whatever they have maintained, we construct in such a way that the olden values or the golden values used there should not get defaced. That is very very important, because these inscriptions wherever temples they contain on the walls, they contain lot of information that is not to be defaced, or plastering or anything we applied. That is, we have to be very very careful. Another aspect I would like to share is there is a technique called as sand blasting, by which sand is powerfully, with pressure, it is applied on temple's walls. This has to be 100% avoided, because this will deface the entire granite inscriptions, if at all they are there, as well as the strength also will be lost, and the idea of breathing, it is taking place whenever there is a lot of summer like season. The stones are in such a way they breathe, and inside it is cool. In winter season, when it is outside it is very cold, inside of the sanctum sanctorum is very hot. That's why sanctum sanctorum doesn't have any openings and all. It is jam packed, in the sense only through the main wall air can enter, like that. So sandblasting has to be avoided, and all sort of recent applications like enamel paints, applying over it, or lime, that is we call as while painting for our house, distemper and all we do, such things should not be applied on granite structures. No enamel paints should be applied on that, because the natural breathing gets arrested. So for the sake of color and panchavarnam aspect, these things are carried out, detriment to the interest of the protection of temples. They don't have idea, nor any person they approach to do the aspect in a pakka fashion. Similarly, money is not the criteria. You can spend lot of money, but the tradition, the values, the ideas, whatever our sapatis, the kings had, and the knowledge they disseminated through generations in maintenance of temples, these things are vitally important. So this is another aspect. And the other structures, if at all it is totally granite, means we have to maintain in granite structure only. That's why we get clearance from archaeological experts and all. There is a committee which gives clearance for all these types of temples. So while renovating a temple which has granite structure, these things are to be strictly adhered to, and these are all very very costly temples. A simple sanctum sanctorum of 10 by 10 done in a granite stone, or today's rate, labor and other phenomena, it costs nearly 35 lakhs to 40 lakhs. Can we ever imagine? So our temple structures, whatever we are having in Tamil Nadu, whatever we are seeing here, or any part of the India, what is the cost of each temple you see? You can never imagine. Such is the rich we have wealth we have in our country. So this is a very very brief idea about temple renovation. You can ask any doubts also, it can be clarified. Another thing about temple tank renovation, I am telling, it is, this concept can be applied for even other tanks also. Any village, if you see any tank, it is in a barren state, or there is lot of rubbish waste materials and all put against detrimental to the interest of the nature, like that. So we can We should renovate such tanks and see that water is maintained there, and it groundwater is conserved by temple tanks only. That's why tank and temple go together. And while doing such a temple tank renovation, lot of important things are to be carried out. It is not alone the showpiece value; it is the structural value. And a 12th century inscription which is found in Kadapa district says, for water to get stagnated in a temple tank or any tank for that matter in a village, we should have clay at the bottom. You should not apply ground surface or RCC or cement structure to hold water. It is a life, it is having. Every temple tank has a life. There is an exchange of water at the ground level and this padalam level. We have freely the water gets exchanged. So the temple tank structures should be in such a way that the groundwater and ground level contains clay area, and water is getting there stored or stagnated when heavy downpour or anything is there. So while renovating a temple tank or desilting it, whatever may be the requirement and need, by proper consultation only such things can be carried out. For example, in one temple tank it may be a sandy structure. There we should not resort to the regular way of temple tank conservation, namely desilting, like a tank which has got a very good depth and there is a natural inflow of water like that. So these are all important things while taking care of temple tank renovation. So I have briefly given you an idea of all these things, and incidentally, I am also one of the persons involved in temple Sri Kailasanatha temple of Kulothunga Sola era in Senji Panambakam, a Tiruvallur district temple which is 800 years old. In fact, Kulothunga has renovated the temple which was dilapidated in the previous king's reign. So like that, the temple had survived for tested times, and we have also used the latest technique of lifting the Nandi Mandapa, which was tilting, and it was very slant, because of the weak structure on the ground level, sandy structure. So using jacks, we have lifted the Nandi Mandapa and positioned it straight. There was a 45-degree inclination slope was there, that Nandi Mandapa. So this is the latest technique, and there are people who are now carrying out like house lifting, this temple renovation also, such lifting wherever it has gone below the ground level on account of paucity of time and historical period. It has gone to the below the ground level. So this is all techniques. Lot of interesting phenomena is there. We will share one day whatever doubts you have. I thank you have spared your valuable time to know about temple renovation and temple tank renovation. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you.